So I'm going to call this chapter The Disease of the Main Character. And what I mean by that is being so central focused on self, the main character, that it becomes almost like a disease. Like all you're thinking about is yourself, your problems, your desires, your challenges, your solutions, your demise, whatever it may be, but most of the time just thinking about self to the point where you're just the main character and you don't give up the role. You don't let other people be the main character. You're just constantly being the main character, and that's tiring. That's taking up so much of your energy. You think you have to be, you think you ought to be, and no one's going to play that role better. And you don't want to be the background character. You don't want to be the co-star. You're just being that main character, and it's a disease as well, because I believe the obsession, the drive, the neurosis, the neurotic behavior to always be the main person, I believe it comes from some sort of disease of the mind, some sort of starvation of the soul. Um, you know, I grew up in an environment where we never really spoke about our problems healthily. We cried about our problems, we worried about our problems, and we didn't feel safe to express our problems, and we didn't feel that we were going to receive the help that we needed through expressing anything that was wrong anyway. Potentially, maybe what was going to be the outcome of talking about your problems was more trouble. You're going to be in double the trouble that you already felt in by talking about your problems, whether it's you're going to be blamed for something and someone's going to come down hard on you, or they're going to then worry about your problem also. So now your problems that you're already worried about have double the energy given to it, which means it's even harder to overcome it. So over time, you learn to retreat, you learn to go back into your mind, and your mind is a place where a lot of the problems reside, and you're just stuck there, just moving around, trying to sort it all out, trying to pluck out all your thoughts and problems and trying to somehow overcome them with the same mind, the same environment that created those problems. And because you're just thinking about your problems, and everything just seems like a problem, because none of your problems ever really got solved. They just kind of got pushed away out of sight for a while before they come back into your vision again. So the problems are just always kind of either there in your face or lurking around in the shadows. And because they're just always there surrounding you, it's just like you're bouncing off of them. You're trying to reach out to other people. You're trying to go beyond yourself. You're trying to reach people, collaborate with people, be in a community and communicate with other people. But there's like a force field, like a barrier of your problems. It just bounces back. So you're just kind of, this energy's coming from you, bouncing off your problems, coming back onto you, till eventually everything is just you. It's just you, and you're tired, you're fatigued, you feel isolated, which adds to the fatigue. And all the while you feel like you're just getting nowhere, and people feel it. People may love you because they've grown to love you, because somewhere along the way you were able to somehow get over that barrier for a little while to generate some sort of connection with other people. But they feel it, they sense it, they feel how you're just stuck, isolated in your mind, and they need something from you just like you need something from them. But you just keep bouncing off your problems, going back into you, and then sometimes people get dragged into your problems, and they're kind of in the mix of all of that, and it's a really murky feeling, like, because you're aware of what you're doing, you're aware that you're trying to overcome your problems somehow by bringing other people into the mix of all your problems, and that makes you feel low about yourself. It makes you feel shameful about yourself, And I think what we need is we need the ability to be able to feel okay, first of all, for those walls to come down a little bit, to peek over, or even to feel comfortable to throw your leg up on top of that wall and try to shuffle down the other side. It needs to be less solid. The problems need to be less up here and just a little bit here, and to bring that down a little bit, I think we need to somehow feel okay inside ourselves, and that's really challenging. Lately, what I've been thinking about how you do that is just more so just getting accustomed to the feeling, being aware of the feeling, and not running too quickly, not being driven to lean into it, to get carried away and catastrophize. There's this tendency, there's this feeling that you just want to jump in to the river of your problems and let it take you away. But first of all, just like being aware, okay, the problem is here. Okay, this is pretty intense. I feel scared. I feel alone. And just feel the feeling. You don't even have to name it, word it, talk to it. Just start to get better at just feeling it, even for a millisecond, before you can even conjure up the ability to feel it for a second. But just feel it first before you get carried away and jump into it and let it take you away. And then maybe start to reach out to other people, but don't reach out about your problems necessarily. If you want to, do, especially if you've got good connection with others. But maybe even just be aware of your problems, be aware that other people have problems too, and maybe they're able to sort their problems out a little bit better than you, but they still have their problems. So reach out to them, see how they're feeling. And it gets you away from your mind that you keep bouncing off of anyway, because now you're thinking about someone else, and your problems will still exist. The people, they can't take away your problems. They can make you feel a little bit okay, potentially, but they can't take your problems away anyway. And a big part of our problem is that we're just stuck, solid, still, scared in our mind, the mind that's full of problems. And like I said, they're not going to take that away. People's not going to take that away. But if you can feel the feeling, I start to reach out to other people and fight that temptation to just rant and be scared and cry out everything about what you're feeling. Talking is good, but there has to be reciprocation. And if it's always a one-way street for so long, and for my life, I can identify that my feelings, my problems being cast out there is like a one-way street. I'm casting and I'm casting, I'm talking about my problems, and there's not enough reciprocation. And I think there has to be reciprocation for collaboration. So it's not about not talking about your problems. It's not about going inside yourself and not expressing what you're feeling and what you're going through, what you're dealing with. It's more so trying to build a strong connection, one that actually can go both ways, and one where both people's problems are seen, heard, and can be fixed and healed upon and improved upon in a much better way, because now you're building connection. You're not letting that fear take you away. You're not letting that fear shut you out from actually caring about other people, actually asking them how they are and listening to them, and just sitting a little bit longer in other people's problems, knowing that they trust you enough to talk about their problems, and just building upon that. And that's just how I'm feeling. That's just an idea, or some ideas that I've been thinking about, because I realised the neurosis of being the main character and being a little bit overwhelming in my own life, and then casting that out too often and creating more problems. Kind of like, to go back to chapter 1 about addiction, an addict, the thing that they're using to soothe themselves, like the alcohol, like the talking about your problems too much. There was a point where maybe it's soothed, but after a while it becomes really destructive. So it's just learning how to become healthier and empathize with yourself, because most likely you grew up in an environment where your voice wasn't heard, where you felt too scared to speak, so you got distorted. You never really learned the proper behaviours and patterns, and just being a little bit patient through that awareness and start to just feel it a little more, understand it a little more, just slowly improve upon it.